Hi there, Charlie. This is John. This is the very first pass at your shelves and surface. There are a few different ways of doing this, and let me just talk you through the pros and cons. At the moment, because we're working in front of a window, this span between this support and this support is as small as I can make it. I think ideally I would make that even smaller. It's about 530 millimeters. Now for a shelf like this, I would be ideally having 450 millimeters between supports, so it's slightly over what I would like. I would say there's a small risk of those shelves sagging ever so slightly if you put a lot of weight on them. I need to know what you're going to put on them. Now conversely, if you're going to go right out to the edges here and here, this unsupported section is larger than I would like it. Ideally I would make that 70 millimeters or something around that figure. So we can increase this span. The default for metal shelves would be about 670, that's the default bay size, but that's too big for melamine type products. So we're going to have to sort of compromise a little bit here. I need to know if you want to go right out to this edge, or whether we could make them asymmetrical, whether we have to be centered around the mirror and radiator. I think that's probably ideal, but technically it might be better if we had less of an overhang on this side. If we go to a standard bay side of 670 millimeters, there are other shelves we can use. You could use the wire shelf with any span you want, really. It's not a particularly attractive product for this setting, so I've assumed you wanted a finished board. Excuse me. If we go to 670 millimeters between here and here, there are a very small number of metal shelves you could use, which they might look more attractive. They are going to be less prone to sagging, but they will have a load limit. They come in 250 millimeters deep and 100 millimeters deep. I think those shelves are currently, yes, they're 200. So we've got options of how we do this. The next thing to discuss is this surface here. It's, in terms of support, it's got similar issues. This overhang is too much to my mind. I would like to see the supports further out this way, but then that gives you an issue in the middle. This unsupported span of 530 as per this drawing is too much. So there's a lot of compromises here. Excuse me. One way you could get round this, and it would be expensive, is by having a completely different shelf and worktop material. If, for example, these were solid oak, then the span isn't unlimited, but you could go way beyond 600 millimeters, 530 millimeters, and these overhangs would also be good. Well, I'm going to stop that there. Speak soon.